and it's great to be here. When I was contacted this past summer about State of State and talking about what it is and what it could be, I thought, wow, I've been here 24 years, and I've been waiting 24 years for this to happen. So, great news. And I get to be the first person to say that, because there are lots of other administrators and folks like me who want to say the exact same thing, but I got to say it first. So let me say this, as a professor, as someone who's been here on the ground working with students. A lot of times students have the idea, you all have the idea that, that your voices aren't heard, that people don't care what you think in the end, that administrators and faculty members and staff members and so on will make the decisions that they're going to make. But the truth is, we often don't get good feedback from students, thoughtful feedback. And as a result, we just go ahead and make the decisions that we think we should make because that's what was happening when we were students, and that's the way it's always been. And so we just do what we do because we don't get feedback. And very oftentimes, I'm surprised at the number of other faculty members and administrators and people who don't teach the large number of students that I do and who work with a large number of students in the way that I do. I'm often surprised at how they come to me and they ask me questions about, well, what do students think about this? And what do students think about that? And I often have answers only because my students who are working with other students, TAs and so on, tell me what students are thinking. Because as many of you know, I'm part of World in Conversation, and so we're working with thousands of students every year. But I'm surprised at the number of administrators and other faculty members and staff around campus who will make decisions on the basis of what one or two students think, only because they don't have access to students and because students don't come to them and say, here's what we're thinking as a collective group. And so they have to make some very critical decisions on the basis of a very small number of ideas, limited ideas. And so that is the most important reason, or the most, important reason for State of State and something like this. Find the voice. Get the voices out there. Now, when I say the voice, I also want to say enforce or reinforce another idea. It really is about diversity, okay? It really is about diversity. So as students, I know sometimes we see diversity as a buzzword. It's this thing that's out there, and you know, your generation, you've grown up in this kind of world of political correctness. You know, well, of course I support diversity. Well, of course, diversity is important because you've learned that it is, and you learn that, well, you should believe that it is. But the truth is, we're moving into a globalized world unlike anything we've ever seen, and it's going to continue. We continue to globalize. We continue to have different voices coming into the mix. Very important that all those voices are included in the mix. And I mean all the voices. So as we think about things like this, events like this, and as we move forward and we're out trying to figure out what different students are thinking, understand how critical it is that different voices are brought into the mix. You know, the other day in class we had an exercise, and 4 Saudi women came up in front of my class, and we did an exercise around hijabs. And this one woman was wearing a hijab and a blue Penn State sweatshirt and had the Nittany Lion on the front. And she's from Saudi Arabia, so she's an international student here studying. And she wore a blue hijab that matched with her sweatshirt because it was fashionable. And I thought, you know what? For most Western students would see her walking across campus, would think, wow, okay, so she's a foreigner. She's not an American. And it wouldn't be conscious, but somehow deep down, maybe, like, well, maybe she's not as Penn State proud as I am because, you know, 4 generations of my family went to Penn State. But let me tell you, international students are just as Penn State proud as students from Pennsylvania. And their voices need to be brought in. different backgrounds, critical, essential. So as we move forward, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind because that is Penn State. They are Penn State. Okay, so a couple things. Talking. I'm here to talk about talking. And talking is important. But truthfully, it's listening that's the most important thing. Because most of us are listening most of the time. We talk for a little bit, but we're listening. So we have to learn to be good listeners. It's just like we talk a lot about leadership, but we don't talk about followership. We have courses on leadership, how to be a good leader. We don't have many courses on how to be a good follower. And most of us are following most of the time. And so Penn State's also looking for students who really understand what it means to follow. What it means to follow. And follow means giving input to leaders, but also means understanding what is going on and taking responsibility as followers. So if you think about what's going to happen here today in these dialogues and so on, most of us are going to listen most of the day. People like me are going to talk, and then we're going to have conversations at the table, and most of the time you're going to be listening. And think about the implications of that. Am I being a good listener? What would it mean for me to be a good listener? Because it's by listening then that we can complete this feedback loop back to the university and to the administrators and staff and professors like myself who really want to get your input. Particularly, by the way, let me say the following. A lot of people say, like, how, Sam, you teach, you're a popular teacher, I see you doing your thing. How is it that you're successful? I'm successful because I know how to listen, because I love to listen, and I love to listen to ideas that are contrary to my own. So when I find someone who I totally disagree with, I go right for that person. I say, tell me, why do you think what you think? What does that mean? Okay, so 2 final things, and just have a couple minutes. I want to give a shout out to all the facilitators who are here, and I want you all to understand that a dialogue, a conversation, oftentimes can't occur, or does not occur, an authentic one, without somebody who's in the middle working that conversation, like a traffic cop. We talk about facilitators as traffic cops over at World in Conversation. So there's a facilitator at every one of the tables. See their role as a traffic cop. See their role as kind of moving the conversation around, opening up new ideas, shifting it. It's an energy thing. And I want to give a shout out to all the facilitators who have come and brought your time to this day. So thank you, you all. And final piece. I'm known as the person who talks about and is invested in race and ethnic relations. But I gotta say something publicly. There's another issue that's out there, and I'm taking this. This is the bully pulpit right now. I'm just gonna take this opportunity to say what I wanna say. There's another issue out there that we need to address, and it's climate change. And we're currently in the middle of the lemming effect, so to speak. We just wake up, we do what we've done, we do what we've always done, everybody's doing the same thing. It's a new world. If these very smart scientists are correct, and by all indications it appears as though they are, there's no need to be scared and put our heads in the sand, but there's every reason to take this seriously and say, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I just want to leave you with that. Okay. To the organizers, thank you very much. And enjoy talking. And most importantly, enjoy listening. And all the great speakers, and all the great speakers and minds and thoughtful people who are sitting at your tables. So, thanks.